So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Today we'll back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Wednesday, December 23rd. We are now 2 days away from Christmas, so that is a very, very, very good thing. It is, in fact, Wednesday, December 23rd. It is a good packed sports day again. Lots of NBA games on tonight. The rest of the NBA plays tonight. We got a lot of good college basketball games tonight. We got a lot of good college football games tonight. 2 good games. And then we got a bunch of other stuff. That is really it. And like I said, this is really a very, very fun time of year to be a sports fan. A very fun time of year to be just a fan in general. Of any sports team, whether you're a fan of whatever sports team you are, it is a fun time of year to be a fan. There is a lot of good sports on: college, NBA, NFL, both college basketball and football, NBA, NFL, NHL starting back up soon. MLB is almost MLB, there's rumors heating up about all these players, so it's a good time of year to be a sports fan, to say the very least. And within these next couple of weeks, there's going to be packed. Going into this weekend is going to be a packed weekend full of a bunch of good stuff. We got NBA, we got NFL, we got both college basketball and football. We got a bunch of good stuff. We got all the NBA games and then one NFL game, so there is a bunch of good sports on coming up, which means a lot of sports. For me, obviously, it makes my podcast, it makes me a whole lot easier to do these when there's a lot of sports on. When we were in the part where the virus was just starting out, it was very, very, very tough to do these podcasts. There wasn't much to talk about when you were in March and there was no sports going. There wasn't much to talk about. I had a couple times a day where I had 2 topics. There was not really much to talk about at all, and the only thing we could talk about was either rumors or a trade that happened or whatever. So there was really nothing whatsoever to talk about. But now that sports are all the way back, we are now in December. It is really crazy that there's a ton of talk about and just a lot of good sports out there to watch. So as you can see, I'm very happy today. The Nets won yesterday, dominated, won by 26, 125-99. We were just on point. We were firing from all cylinders. So these are the topics for today. We got the Nets, Warriors, Lakers versus Clippers. Give you that kind of stuff. Just give you all that good stuff. The talk about the games. Clippers won, and the Nets won. So I was not expecting that to be the case. I was definitely expecting the Lakers to win, but the Lakers came out flat and finished flat. I watched a little bit of that game. They came out flat, and they were flat through, and I don't want to make the excuse that it's only because they had the 71-day off season and they were in the bubble for 102 days and they fully haven't got their bodies back to 100%. I don't want to make that excuse. It was the first game of season, so there was definitely some rust. But we'll get to tell 2-3 weeks from now if they're 2-10 or 2-8. We'll get to realize, okay, maybe it really is taking a toll on them that they only had a 71-day off season. But it's one game. They'll be back at it. They got a Christmas Day game, so I don't think if you're a if you're a Lakers fan, wouldn't worry. If you're a Warriors fan, I would. Yesterday's performance by the Warriors was horrendous. I wouldn't worry too much, but what you saw of Andrew Wiggins, what you saw of Stephen Curry should be pretty concerning because both those players struggled yesterday. You might look at Curry's numbers and say, oh, wow, Curry still had a good game. He put up 20 points, but he did not shoot well, and he did not shoot the 3 good, and he did not shoot overall good. So a little concerning there, but we'll see what all turns out. And as for the Nets, if you're a Nets fan like me, you are very excited what you saw yesterday and very, very happy about it. So those are the topics: Nets versus Warriors, Lakers, Clippers, and the NBA. I'll give you the rest of the NBA. Just 2 games on. We're only 2 games yesterday. We got the rest of the league today. So we got a ton of games tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Then we got the Jets draft situation. I kind of wanted to take some time and talk about it. This has been a hot topic since the Jets won on Sunday. Now that Trevor Lawrence pretty much is out of our reach and more than likely will go to Jacksonville, bearing an insane Jacksonville upset, Now that that's the case, we as Jets fans, Jets front office organization now needs to start focusing on, okay, what are we going to do now? Because obviously Trevor Lawrence, if he was there, we were going to take him no matter what. But Trevor Lawrence now more than likely is not going to be there unless if the Jaguars somehow, some way win a game, or if the Jaguars somehow, some way don't draft him. But whatever the case may be, Trevor Lawrence is there. So the Jets draft situation. I want to talk about the draft situation, what we're going to do with the number 2 pick now. We clinched the top 2 pick, so it's between us and the Jaguars on who's going to get that first pick pretty much. And Zach Wilson, I kind of want to spend some time on him. He's one of the front runners now probably to come to the Jets. We got some Penei Sewell, guys like that. I want to talk about different situations we could do in the draft and how that could impact us for the future. That's what I want to talk about. Then we have college basketball, college football, NBA, Knicks, and fantasy basketball. Knicks play tonight. We'll give you my game pick and a little bit of a special preview there. And other than that, that's what I got for the pod today. A lot of good news, a lot of good NBA, a lot of good college basketball and football. A couple very good college basketball games on today. I'll tell you that for sure. We've got a couple very, very good games on today. We got Oregon on. Top 25 matchup right here. Creighton, Xavier. We got another top 25 matchup. We got a number 11 of Rutgers coming in to play number 23 Ohio State. That's going to be a very fun game. I'll probably watch that game. You got a game between Penn State and Illinois. Is Penn State going to pull off another upset, or is Illinois going to stop their little skid that they're on? And Villanova, Marquette. Marquette's a feisty team. They've had a couple upsets this year. Villanova's a good team. What's going to happen? Villanova's have already gotten upset once this season. Are they going to get upset again? We'll see. So a lot of good and intriguing games, in my opinion, today in the college basketball world. And there's a couple college football games as well today. Today we got a couple games on today. We got 2 bowls on today. Or no, 2 bowls. I think we have 2 bowls on today. Let's see. Yes, we have 2 bowls on today. So we have the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. That's Georgia Southern and Louisiana Tech. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. And then we have the Montgomery Bowl between Memphis and Florida Atlantic. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. So a little bit of a back-to-back ESPN action there. We'll get into it in just a little bit. So other than that, a very packed sports day once again. And that's what I like. So with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So last night, I had some of the most fun I've ever had watching a Brooklyn Nets basketball game. It was a ton of fun. I was enjoying it from the start to the finish of that game. Even when Kyrie and KD were sitting out in the fourth quarter because, they were resting and stuff, I loved every bit of that game. I don't think I've looked forward to a basketball game this much in my entire life until yesterday. Yesterday, by far, was probably by far the best, one of the best performances I've ever seen my Brooklyn Nets do. It was insane. They played so good yesterday. And I would first off like to say about the NBA. And I know I always say this, it might sound repetitive, it might sound like, he's not talking about it. I understand that. But what I would like to say is that involving the NBA and how they did the restart, or how the season looks and stuff. I thought yesterday the NBA and the season looked very good. I really did. I thought it looked good. I liked the production on the broadcast. I liked the TNT. I thought it was good. I liked the announcers were good. I thought it looked good. The crowd noise, they didn't pump in so much to it, but I thought the noise inside of the stadium sounded good. It's obviously definitely different without the fans, but I thought for the most part, NBA I think looks probably the most normal. Outside of the coaches wearing masks, it looks normal. And the reason I say that is because the sidelines are almost the same, or the benches, except they're a little socially distanced. But other than that, they look pretty much the same. So other than that, they look the same. What I will say probably looks the most different is probably college basketball. Because college basketball, you got guys sitting behind the hoop. That's just odd. So it's obviously different. But I thought the NBA did a good job. I thought it looked good. I thought it sounded good. And I overall very well enjoyed the game. Now, I'm to that point now where I'm like, okay, there's no fans. I could do without them. Like, I like the fans, but you get what I'm saying. There's some people out there that there's a minimal amount of people out there that still say, sporting events, I can't watch them unless if there's fans. Like I've gone to the point now where like when the MLB just started back up and there was no fans there, for the first couple of weeks I was just sitting there, like for the first couple of games I was like, geez, this is so odd. You got the tarp seats or the cardboard cutouts, you're like, oh geez, this is so weird. And then sure enough, a couple weeks into the season, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm normal. I'm used to this. And now, this is the same thing with the NBA. By now, I'm used to it. I could do without the fans. Now, the fans make it so much better. The announcers were even saying when the Nets got in a couple of their big runs, they were on a 24-7 run there, you would have the crowd probably chanting Brooklyn and stuff and all that stuff. That stuff not going to happen. But I thought overall it looks good. And for the different times that we're in, I thoroughly enjoyed the game. So it was awesome. And now let's get really into the game. The Brooklyn Nets did, in fact, defeat the Golden State Warriors yesterday, 125-99. I've been a suffering Nets fan my entire life, and it has been, there's a lot of pain that goes into being a Nets fan, but finally us Nets fans have something to root about, have something to look forward to, because this season we are serious contenders for a championship. So, a couple years ago, we were, last year we were in the playoff hunt when Kyrie went down, when the season got shut down, things went bad, and all of a sudden we came to the bubble and got swept. But I thought overall yesterday we were very good. I thought this whole KD, Kyrie hype up, some of the two biggest names in basketball, I thought yesterday we looked amazing. And this is what makes this duo so dynamic. You have one of the best point guards in the league, one of the best ball handlers in the league, in Kyrie. And you have probably one of the best scorers of all time, probably a top 10 scorer of all time in Kevin Durant. So you have two very good players. You have a player that's probably on an all-time list and a player right now that's on a top 10 list in the league right now. So with them two together, I thought it was good. And what I loved yesterday out of the Nets was the play we got out of our bench. I loved the play we got out of our bench yesterday. I loved it. I really, really did. I loved the play we got out of our bench. We got 20 points from LeVert. We got 6 from Shamet. We got 8 from Jared Allen. We got 7 from Jeff Green. I loved it. I really, really, really liked the effort from our bench, especially Karis LeVert, right? He's been that guy. He's going to probably be that guy that's going to be that sixth man, that guy that's going to make things really, he's going to be that glue guy. He's going to be that guy that on the bench, he's going to be that guy, the veteran. He's going to be the guy there that's going to be able to lead this team. He did very well in the bubble. He proved himself to play with KD and all them. Now he's here playing very well, and he looked really good. And when he was in with KD and them, he looked really good. Fabulous game for Karis LeVert. Very, very efficient game. 6 for 17, 3 for 5. He had a hit. He had a block, a couple of steals. He played really good on defense, and he was 1 rebound shy of a double-double. So I thought he looked really good yesterday, and on both sides of the ball. Not just the offensive side of the ball, defense. And all this hype, and I said this yesterday on the podcast, I think. All this hype I saw about the Brooklyn Nets and their defense and how they're going to get better on defense and all that. I bought into a little bit because Steve Nash, even throughout his career, has always been, defense. We want to stress defense. And the NBA is a league where there's not too much defense. We all know it. It's tough to play defense. There's a whole lot of there's a whole lot of fouls. But Steve Nash has stressed defense almost his entire career, playing career, and now coaching career. And his young, very coaching career. He's obviously first year as a coach. Yesterday was his first official win as a coach, which was great to see. But he's always stressed defense. He's always said, we need defense, right? He's always said that. So, with that being said, I thought our defense looked phenomenal yesterday. KD had a block, Joe Harris had a block, DeAndre Jordan had a block. We had 3 blocks. 3 out of the 5 starters had blocks yesterday. Durant, Harris, and Jordan. So we had 3 blocks. Then LeVert had a block. Jared Allen had 2 blocks. And Prince had a block. So we had 4 blocks and 3. So we had 7 total blocks yesterday in that game. And as crazy as that might sound, some teams, you look at the Warriors, for example. The Warriors yesterday had 7 blocks as well. So I thought overall, actually, 6. No, they had 6 blocks. So I thought overall, I thought both teams were pretty good, if you ask me, on the defensive side of the ball. So, so it was obviously very good. I thought we forced them into a couple bad shots. There was a couple of times where Curry forced some shots, and I think it was by the defense. And that's another thing, too. Steve Nash has said that so many times. Take what the defense gives you, right? If the defense gives you an open shot, take it. Take what the defense gives you. That's what he's been trying to stress, too. playing career and now in his young coaching career, right? Take what the defense gives you. The Nets did that yesterday. The defense they were realizing, you know what, Joe Harris is open in the corner. You know what, we're going to kick it out to Joe Harris. Joe Harris has finished it with 10 points and 2 3-pointers, right? Take what the defense gives you. The defense gives you an open lane to drive. Take that, make it, right? That is what he's been stressing this entire offseason training camp practice, and the Nets did that. I thought the Nets yesterday did a fabulous job. Everything everybody's been talking about in practice. Oh, the defense. Taking what the defense gives you. The shooting. The duo between KD and Kyrie. The chemistry. I thought everything they've been saying they are working out in practice yesterday was executed to the perfection in the game. Now, was it perfect? No, I don't mean by perfection because you're never perfect. If you were perfect, you would win every single game and not miss a shot. But I thought for the most part, there was a couple errors. I mean, even in the beginning of the game, you had that turnover early on in the game. But I thought the Nets kept the mistakes to the minimal. And we'll get to the Warriors in just a second here. But to kind of leave it out on a final word before I read the stats here, the Nets made less mistakes than the Warriors. The Warriors made a ton of mistakes. Some bad shots, turnovers, just some blatantly just bad misses. And overall, just a couple times where they left, Kyrie or a Joe Harris or DeAndre Jordan, someone open, and you just can't do that. This team's too good to leave someone open, and I really thought too. And I really thought the Nets too were really good at removing someone. We're really good at removing someone from KD or Kyrie, right? KD gets the ball, he drives, all of a sudden two people go on KD, that leaves Kyrie open. That's what's so complicated there about this team. I thought this team looked very good yesterday, and to look at the numbers. Kyrie logged 25 minutes, right? 25 minutes isn't that much. He sat 23, obviously, but you got to also look at it. We were demolishing them. We were beating them big time. There was no need to keep him in for the full 40 minutes. It's also the first game of the season, both of them coming back from injuries. One, KD coming back from the Achilles, and Kyrie coming back from the shoulder. So, you obviously want to take it easy too. First game of the season when you're up by 20, 25 points, you don't want to put him in for 40 minutes. So, 25 minutes. Kyrie had 26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Field goals, he went 10 of 16. 3-point percentage, 3 points. He made 4 3-pointers, and he went 2 for 2 at the free throw line. He had a plus 32. And like I said, he looked very good. He looked very, very good. Kevin Durant also logged 25 minutes. He had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 of 16 field goals, 1 of 2 3-pointers, 7 for 7. He was perfect at the free throw line, and his rating was a plus 26. Joe Harris had 10 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 4 for 8. Field goal made. He had 2 3-pointers, and he went 2 for that. And his plus minus was a plus 21. Dinwiddie, not a big fan of how he played yesterday, but he still finished with 9 points. He had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 of 6 field goals, 1 for 3 3-pointer, and a free throw. He went 4 for 4 from the free throw line. And he had a plus 24. And DeAndre Jordan, 4 points. He was the big guy in the middle there with 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 of 3 field goals. And he did not make a free throw, but that's normal. DeAndre Jordan is not very good at free throws. He had a plus 21. Like I said, the field goals yesterday were very good for the Nets. They beat them in a lot of the categories. And that's your starters. Other than that, LeVert got 20 points. Shamet got 6 points. Allen got 8 points. Jeff Green got 7 points. Torian Prince with 1 point. Reggie Perry with 2 points. Bruce Brown with 2 points. Rodion Kuruc with 3 points. And Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot. So everyone who logged a minute yesterday got a point except Tyler Johnson. He did not get a point. He went 0 for 1. But other than that, though, that's what's crazy how deep this bench is. Everyone logged a point except Tyler Johnson, and he got the least amount of minutes, so it actually kind of makes sense why he did not log a point. He got the least amount of time to score. And the Nets, you look at the field goal percentage, they shot 46%, which is just unbelievable. They shot really good. 3-point percentage was 43%. Free throw percentage was 81%. They did have the most turnovers. They had 20 turnovers. They had 24 assists. And offensive rebounds, they had 57. Blocks, no. That can't be correct. 57 offensive rebounds? I guess so. Yeah. Blocks, they had 7. Steals, they had 11. Personal fouls, they had 22. And there was no technical fouls yesterday. So the Nets played good. The Nets really did. And, you look at this, 48% shooting percentage was just, or 46%, sorry. That's just unbelievable. So good. To shoot 46% as a team is so good. And then to come out on three-point percentage is at 43%. This team, like I said, this team was catching fire last night. There was no real errors. I mean, they did have the turnovers and stuff, but the shooting yesterday was on point for the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, as for the Golden State Warriors, I mean, I don't want to say that they're going to have another tough year, but at the same time, I don't want to say that they're going to be that, top team. I did not put them as my top 10 team. Just coming off of the year they had, I just don't know if that's fair. But they struggled yesterday. I mean, they did. And I thought Andrew Wiggins struggled the most. I mean, he shot awful. And he just did not. I mean, everyone in the plus minus for the Warriors finished in the minus. Minus 28, minus 23, minus 28, minus 10, minus 28. So everyone in the plus minus for the Golden State Warriors yesterday finished in the minus. It's just one of these games, and I don't want to all of a sudden say that the Warriors are going to go through a rebuild and all that, but you can kind of, and it's for the one game. It's one game, right? And I don't want to all of a sudden say that they're done, but you can kind of, depending on how this season goes, this offseason might be interesting. You can kind of smell or see maybe a slight rebuild coming. I'm not saying completely tear it down and start all over, but you might see a couple tough years ahead. Not saying that they're going to finish the 15th seed every year, but maybe like a year where they finish the 9th seed or miss the playoffs. I can kind of see that coming soon. Every dynasty's got to end somewhere, and I feel like ever since that Raptors finals loss, everything's gone downhill since. They lost KD. Last season, Curry was out. The majority, Curry was out every game except 5 games. This year, now they start off the way they did. They got injuries. I don't know. I could just see a possible rebuild coming soon. Soon. Not saying it's going to happen this year. Not saying it's going to happen next year. But I could just see a rebuild coming. Not a completely, like I said, stripped down where they start all over, but maybe a couple tough years ahead for the Golden State Warriors. And what I saw yesterday was concerning to me. It really was concerning to me because this was really the team that some of these guys were, and they're going to miss Klay Thompson again. And that's another thing, too. They find out, we got healthy this year. Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, and Draymond Green, we got healthy, and Klay Thompson goes down. Draymond Green's injured now. I'm sorry, but I think Curry's a good player. He's phenomenal. One of the best shooters of all time. I will say that. I'll be the first to say that, but he's just not the guy that's going to carry a team by himself. I'm sorry. He's not. Look at the numbers. You could try to fight it. Look at the numbers. He's not a guy that's going to carry a team by himself. He needs help, and he doesn't have that at the moment. Andrew Wiggins logged 31 minutes, 13 points, 2 rebounds, and assist. Field goals, he went 4 of 16, 2 of 6 from the 3-point, and 3 of 4 from free throw. And his plus-minus was minus 28. He really struggled. He could not make anything. I actually got concerned. I was wondering if they were going to bench him. He could not make anything. Even a putback layup was tough for him. He missed 2 or 3 of those. Where Oubre would drive, miss it, he would get it wide open, he missed it. And there was a couple times the Nets had a breakdown there, and he just missed it. And I thought the Nets forced good pressure, too, in the paint, though. Curry had logged 30 minutes, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 10 assists. He had a double-double. 7 of 21 for field goal. 2 of 10 from 3-point, shot 20%, was really bad there. And 4 for 4 from free throws, and minus 23 was his plus-minus. Kelly Oubre logged 26 minutes, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 of 14. 3 of 14 was his field goals, 0 of 6 from 3. And he logged minus 28. James Wiseman had an excellent debut. 24 minutes, 19 points, 6 rebounds, no assists, 7 of 13 field goals, 1 3-pointer, 4 for 8 from 3 free throw line, and a minus 10. He had an excellent debut. He was probably their best player yesterday. And then Eric Paschall at 22 points, 22 minutes, 6 points, 1 board, no assists, field goals, 2 of 6, 1 of 1 3-point. Free throw, he went 1 of 2, and plus-minus was minus 28, so he struggled as well. Other than that, Watermaker had 3 points, Poole had 2 points, Tezcosco Anderson had 4 points, Chris had 9 points, Lee had 3 points, Bazemore had 2 points, Looney had 4 points, and Mulder had 8 points. Their field goal percentage was 37%, 3-point percentage was 30%, free throw percentage was 65%, turnovers they had 18, assists they had 26, rebounds offensively they had 47, blocks they had 6. No, they had 47 total rebounds at 13. That's also at 13. And it looks at 57. Yeah. Blocks they had 6. Steals they had 6. Personal fouls 24, and obviously no technical fouls. And like I said, the Nets shot amazing. 46% for the first game was just phenomenal for the Brooklyn Nets, and the Nets moved to 1-0 in the season. Next up, the Lakers-Clippers game. I wasn't expecting this outcome, to say the least. I mean, I was expecting the Lakers to win, but it's got to always be in the back of your head that, they are coming off of a season like they had, where they won the championship, obviously. They won the championship. They obviously, for the season they had, I thought they played pretty. They're coming off of the championship and all that, but the Lakers, I mean, they struggled last night. They really did, and They got off to a very slow start. I mean, they got off to a very slow start. I mean, they were losing after the end of the first quarter, 39-19. They got off to an insanely slow start. They were down by 20. I mean, they got off to a slow start, and they never really got back into the groove of things. They got off to a slow start, and I would so much say they finished slow. They try to make a comeback, but, you remove that first quarter, and they were pretty much solid the rest of the way. But it's just that first quarter really hurt them. That first quarter really damaged them. I mean, to say the very least. You remove that first quarter, even if you're down by 10 in that first quarter, it's a completely different game. But they lost 116-109. I mean, like I said, I don't want to say that this Lakers team is going to be like this all year because I think they're the best team in the league. But I mean, you wonder, you'll find out 2 or 3 weeks if this short off season is really going to wear off on them. Because yesterday, what I saw early was a team that looked drained and just a tired looking team. It just looked like, I don't know, they just looked flat. They looked flat from the start, and they looked flat from the finish. From start to finish, I think they look flat. And I don't want to sit here and, make fun of them and all that because they're a very good team. They're defending champions. We can't sit here and say, oh, how bad they looked. But they did. I mean, they struggled. And then, it's also the first game. You had 2 preseason games. Usually in normal circumstances, you'll have maybe 10 or 15, but with obviously the whole COVID situation, you don't have that. So they're going to do it. They were the last team to leave the bubble. So, they obviously spent a lot of time in the bubble. So, but, obviously at the end of the day, they took the loss and they got to be better. I thought their shooting wasn't amazing. They just as a whole, they just not play good. I mean, they did shoot 47%, which is very good. But I just thought for the most part, nothing crazy. 3-point percentage, 31%. They were pretty low there. Free throw. They missed some of their free throws. They make some of those free throws. It's a completely different ball game. Turnovers hurt them as well. Steals. I mean, they had a lot of. The Lakers. The Clippers had a lot of steals. They steal the ball from the line. Like I said, it wasn't even so much. It wasn't even so much just the fact that they played bad. It's just the rusty. It's just. They just gotta clear off. They just gotta burn off the rust, right? There was just a little bit of the rust, right? That's all it really was. But Anthony Davis had 18 points. LeBron had 22 points. Schroeder had 14 points. Kadavius Caldwell-Pope had 9 points. Marcus Gasol is in a waiting. He had a pretty good year last year. People are excited to see what he could do. He did not have a point yesterday. He did not log a point, so tough for him. He did not log a shot either. But we'll see what really happens with him. Montrezl Harrell had 17 points and 10 boards. He had a double-double. Schroeder also had a double-double. But Montrezl Harrell had 17 points. Kuzma had 15 points. Morris had 5 points. Caruso had 3 points. And Horton Tucker had 6 points. So other than that, not much scoring for the rest of the team. Lakers went 47%. 3-point percentage was 31%. Free throw percentage was 77%. Turnovers, they had 19. So they lose that there, but 19 turnovers. They had 22 assists, rebounds, they had 45, and blocks, they had 2, steals, they had 4, personal fouls, they had 20. So they won in a couple categories, just wasn't the important ones. Like the steals, the Clippers had 10 steals. That can't happen. You can't let that happen. That's a lot of steals. I mean, as for the Clippers, Paul George told a lot of the people out there to quit talking because obviously he's really been under pressure the past couple of weeks, really the entire offseason. After his playoff performance, after his just performance in the playoff, he hit the backboard he hit the side of the backboard with one of his shots. He was really struggling. There's a couple things he said in the backboard, so much kind of like making, or in the bubble, kind of making excuses in a way. But I thought for the most part, he He played really well. He had 33 points. Kawhi had 26 points. Batum had 3 points. Beverly had 10 points, and Ibaka had 15. Ibaka in his debut with the late Clippers. He's veteran. Not his first game ever, but in his debut with the Clippers looked good. Paul George looked really good. Paul George looked like Indiana Pacers Paul George. That's what I can say. Zubac had 11 points. Lou Williams had 11 points. Kennard had 4 points, and Patterson had 3 points. So that was your, what was the deal there? Other than that, no real scoring there, but the Lakers got the job done. Clippers got the job done. They shot 47% from field goal percentage, 47%. 3-point percentage, 35%. Free throw percentage, 74%. Turnover 16%, sorry. Assists 22, rebounds offensively they had 40, blocks they had 3, they had 10 steals, and personal fouls they had 29. So like I said, back to the point with the Clippers, I felt yesterday there was a lot of high percentage shooting. The Clippers had 47%, Lakers had 47%, Nets, what was I going to say? The Clippers and Lakers had 47%. The Nets obviously had 46%. If I'm remembering correctly, 46%. So, they had a lot. Both these teams for given that it was the first game, 3 of the 4 teams that played yesterday were in the 40 percentile of field goal percentage, which is very good. And that's close to 50%. That is insane. So, overall, very good game for a lot of these guys, and I was expecting a little bit more of a rustier shooting percentage, after playing, 2 or 3 preseason games, to now go out there and expect to be, playing against some of these top-tier teams. I thought they looked good. So that was the first night of basketball. A good first night of basketball, to say the very least. Nets and Clippers catch wins. They both are 1-0 in the season. And then today, the rest of the NBA plays. All the rest of the games, we obviously have 28 divided by 2 is 14. So 14 games on today. If I can, I have 14 games on today because there's 28 teams that got to play. 28 divided by 2, 14 games on today. So 14 exciting games too. There's a couple good ones. A couple of ones I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Wizards can do with Bradley Beal and Westbrook. I want to see what that combo is all about. A lot of hype going around them. I want to see what the 76ers, with the rumors of Harden, if they can block that stuff out and just go out there and play. How they're looking with their new head coach. I want to see what this Knicks team's like. The Knicks showed a lot of grit and good effort in the preseason. I want to see what they're like. So we'll see. Pacers, they're heavy favorites, but we'll see. I want to see what this Bucks team's like. Giannis getting a new contract without Chris, without some of those other guys, getting rid of those guys, and now obviously having just Drew Holiday and stuff. I want to see what they do with that. Same thing with Celtics. Celtics struggling, looked pretty bad when I watched them in the preseason. Not saying that that's going to matter all that much, but still. And what did the Pelicans do? Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, guys like that. What did they look like? So there's a lot of good games. And Mavericks Suns should be good too. How does the Devin Booker Chris Paul combo work out? That's going to be fun too. So a lot of good NBA games on tonight, but we'll get to that a little later on in the show, because coming up next, we have a pretty interesting topic. I was not expecting to be talking about this, because I thought for sure the Jets were going to go 0-16 and get the number 1 pick, but that is no longer the case. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the Jets draft situation. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Trying to just think. Let's see. Let's go here. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Already perfect. Okay, here we go. So, okay, so I'm not gonna so much sit here and make my mock draft right now. It's December and the draft comes in April, so I'm not gonna sit here and make my mock draft right now. What I am going to do is talk about some certain possibilities surrounding the New York Jets and their draft position now. Now that they have, one, secured a top 2 pick, and number 2, have for the time being lost the number 2 pick. Or lost the number 1 pick, sorry. So, for the moment, this is how I'm going to read the top 10 order. For the moment, this is how the draft is looking. Jacksonville Jaguars with the number 1, Jets with the number 2, Bengals with the number 3, Panthers with the number 4, Falcons with the number 5, Dolphins, which is this is from the Texans with the number 6, Eagles with the number 7, Cowboys with the number 8, Chargers with the number 9, and the Giants with the number 10. So that's your top 10. And the Jets' next pick in the draft, which is what we're going to probably talk a little bit about today, is at the time being it's the 26th pick. Now, that is from Seattle. So if Seattle keeps on winning, that pick will keep on moving back. If Seattle loses, that pick will move up. It's really whatever happens with Seattle. So, that being said, the Jets have 2 first-round picks, and then they have the first pick of the second round. So, what I want to say here is the Jets have a ton of draft capital. I think out of the entire NFL, through the next 2 drafts, we have maybe the most picks or something. We have a ton of draft capital. And what we also have is we not only have a ton of draft capital, but we also have a ton of cap space to use this offseason. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to so much do my mock draft and stuff because I don't want to do that. I'm going to explain certain situations on what I think the Jets can now do now that more than likely, bearing an insane win by the Jacksonville Jaguars either this week or next week, the Jets are going to end up with the second pick and they aren't going to end up with Trevor Lawrence. So here's what I want to do. So the Jets, first off, to say the next 2 drafts, we have a ton of draft capital. This draft, next draft, and even moving forward. You could talk 3-4 years from now. Whatever. Those picks get traded. I'm not going to talk about 3-4 years from now, though. I'm gonna stay right now. I want to talk about this year's draft in particular and what the Jets could possibly do. We all know the Jets' season's over. So they're 1-13. So the Jets clinched the top 2 picks. So the worst the Jets can get is a second pick in the draft, which after all isn't bad. But when you think of what we could have got, one of the best prospects ever to come out of college, you might think the number 1 pick is so much better. Usually the number 2 pick isn't that bad. But, you hope that the Jets can somehow find a way to squeak in still Trevor Lawrence. Whether that's the Jaguars getting a win and the Jets moving back up, whatever the case may be. But what I want to say here is that now with Trevor Lawrence, more than likely, this is all more than likely, okay? There's still a slim possibility that we still get Trevor Lawrence, but the chances are very slim. We have to rely on the Jacksonville Jaguars to win a game. You know how difficult that is? That's very difficult. So, with this being in mind, with the Jets more than likely not getting Trevor Lawrence, there are now a couple of different things we can do. Like I explained just a little bit ago, with all the draft capital we have, we could do a couple of different things. I'm going to read off the first thing, and I want to get into Zach Wilson and Kyle Trask and a couple other guys first. But here we go. Here's my first possibility for the New York Jets to do this offseason. Now, this is in the draft. I'm going to remove the free agency deals, all of this. This is in the draft. So here we go. So what the Jets could possibly do. This is possible chance of not getting a quarterback. If we don't get a quarterback. If we decide to choose an offensive lineman. This is what I want the Jets possibly to do. Here we go. With the second pick in the draft, the Jets could take Penei Sewell. He is second overall in the prospect rank. He is first among all offensive linemen and second among all prospects, only behind Trevor Lawrence. So what this means is we would get Penei Sewell out of Oregon. People say one of the best offensive linemen ever to come out of the draft. And we would add on. We already have Mekhi Becton. We already now would add on to Penei Sewell. And then we would have Connor McGovern, who's probably been our second best offensive lineman outside of Becton this season. You have him. Greg Van Roten, too, has a very high Pro Football Focus grade. He's been very good this year. A very smart player, knows what he's doing. When he gets to his second level, he's really good. He's another one there, too. So with that being said, now that we have Penei Sewell, that could be a possibility. So this is if the Jets decide to pass up on a quarterback. We take Penei Sewell. This is almost where we would build around Sam Darnold. This is what I want the Jets to do. In the beginning of the year, we fire our head coach. January 4th is known as Black Monday for NFL coaches, which is known for almost like a Black Friday. It's known for coaches to get fired. It's known for whoever's going to get fired to get fired. That's usually who gets fired. So more than likely, January 4th, Gaze is going to get fired. Unless if they pull a Todd Bowles and fire him before that. More than likely, though, Gaze is going to get fired. So we fire Gaze, we get a new head coach. Now, what we want to do with the head coach is different. Do we want to get a defensive-minded coach? I would prefer an offensive-minded coach just because we have a young quarterback and possibly still going to get a young quarterback. I would much rather having a offensive-minded coach to work with him. But that's, that was whatever Douglas does. My word really has nothing I have no say in this. The Jets should do this if we decide not to take a quarterback with the number 2 pick. They should go to Darnold and say, you have one more year to prove yourself. You have one more year. This is it. You have one more year. This will be your 4th year in the league. You have one more year to prove yourself. We're going to bring in a new coach. We're going to get you a new coach. You're going to learn a little bit of a new playbook, and we're going to start a little fresh. We're going to get you a new offensive lineman, a new head coach. Tell him this. This is it. Give him one more year to prove himself. If he doesn't prove himself, then you know what? If you go 2-14 again, then you say, you know what? We're drafting a quarterback. That's your first option. Tell him this. Say, you know what? This is what I want to do. We're getting a new head coach. You're going to learn a new system. We're going to get a receiver or two in the draft and a receiver or two in the free agency. We're going to get a couple guys on defense because we need to build outside as well. That is what we're going to do. We're going to give you one more year to prove yourself, prove you why you are worthy to get paid in your 5th year. Okay, so that's what the Jets could do. With that being said, with the second pick, the Jets would take Penei Sewell out of Oregon. What that means is now with our second pick in the first round, I would like a receiver, preferably either Rashad Bateman or Rondale Moore. What that does is that adds a protection for Darnold to have Darnold now have another offensive lineman with Becton, plus with the other guys he already has. Then you have Mims and now Rondale Moore possibly, or Rashad Bateman, whatever. You have them two, receiving core, and then Jamison Crowder. So right there you got 3 very good receivers, plus whatever you get in free agency. So there you go. That's your first option. But you have to be clear with it. You can't be, babying around with Darnold. And maybe even draft a quarterback too in like the 3rd round. And say, or not the 3rd or 4th round, and say, you know what, or pick up a solid backup and say, you know what, this is it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna draft a quarterback later on in the round. You struggle, you might get benched. We have to make this clear, right? That's your one option. Now another option is to take a quarterback who I think might be the second best quarterback in the draft, in Zach Wilson. Okay, Zach Wilson has had a phenomenal year for BYU. If you haven't seen the guy play, he's been phenomenal. He had a very good game yesterday. He threw for like 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's had a very good year. He's a Heisman candidate. He's not on Trevor Lawrence's level. Trevor Lawrence is probably one of the best players to ever come out of college. But for a consolation prize, a very good player. If Trevor Lawrence was not in this draft, Zach Wilson could very possibly be in the possibility for number 1. I feel like his draft stock goes up every single time you see him play. Coming out of BYU, things like that. That's your other option, right? Getting him. So with your second pick, you would take Zach Wilson out of BYU. I like Zach Wilson a lot because he a lot of people are comparing him to a little bit of a Kyler Murray. He does not only have the arm strength and can throw the ball deep, but he can also use his legs, and he's also very good on his legs, running and throwing on the run. He's very good with that. So that is another possibility. Zach Wilson with the number 2 pick. Now your second pick in the first round is the same exact thing. It would be take a receiver to build around Zach Wilson. But this also could mean too, you know what? We might want an offensive lineman to protect Zach Wilson, knowing that he can run and stuff. Do we take an offensive lineman to protect him, or what do we do? Now, knowing that he's got a very good arm, what do we do? That's a decision Joe Douglas is going to have to make. Personally, I would love to see Zach Wilson here. I think he would be an excellent player for us. I think he would be good. The Jets really haven't had a running back, or not a running back, or a quarterback in a very long time that can run and throw, that can use both his arm and his legs to hurt opposing defenses. The Jets really haven't had that in a long time. And I think that would be really good. Because you're also getting Mekhi Becton, who could possibly lead him when he's running. If you do a setup QB draw, you not only have Mekhi Becton, who could lead him and be in front of him as he's running, you also have possibly another offensive lineman you pick. So that would be my two situations. You either at the beginning of this offseason say, you know what, this is the deal. You got one more year to prove yourself. If you're not good this year, if you're 6 games into the season, you got 2 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, we're gonna have to do something. If you're throwing bombs and all that, then you'll get paid. That's an option. You take Penei Sewell, you keep Darnold, and get a receiver. Or you take Zach Wilson, start over, get a guy who could damage other defenses on both his arms and his legs, and get a receiver. Those are your 2 options at this moment. Now, I know a lot of people are out there saying, what the Jets could possibly invest in Dak Prescott, knowing that, he's going to become a free agent, and will he get paid and stuff that Jets could possibly, I don't know. Dak Prescott coming to the Jets would be amazing, but I kind of also want to see what the rookies are looking like. That's another thing, too. So, it's going to be interesting. But those are some of your situations. Zach Wilson, Kyle Trask, someone like that. If we get Lawrence, then you got to take Lawrence. You got to. But if you don't, then you got to look at some of these other I don't want Fields, really, at number 2. What I've been seeing out of him is just not what I really like. I would not want to see Fields at 2. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So this news just came in. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to stop dancing on logos. For the betterment of myself and my teammates, I'm going to stop dancing on the logos. It's about time. Ever since he started dancing, the team starts to stink. It's about time he stops. That's funny. But yeah, obviously that, there's a couple options. But now with Lawrence more than likely not going to happen, there's a couple options remaining for the New York Jets. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And like I said, I would love to have Zach Wilson here. I mean, the guy's a stud. But if that's not the case, then you build around Darnold and you give him another shot. One of those possibilities. I wanted to look at some of the things with I want to look at some of the things with Zach Wilson here. Some of the stats. That's what I kind of want to look at. Some of the stats with him, because he's had a very good year. And even this thing says, Zach Wilson may give Jets fans Jets hope after Trevor Lawrence down. It's the truth. There's a chance that he yesterday ended on an amazing note, and I want to show you guys this. Yesterday he threw 3 touchdowns and 425 yards. If that's not good, then I don't know what is. And this season he's thrown 33 touchdowns, which is his second in all of college football. He's thrown 3,692 yards, which is third in all of college football, and he's thrown 3 interceptions, which is 26th in all of college football. For the amount of quarterbacks that are out there, that's crazy. So it really is crazy. And this is another thing I want to show, too. He's improved in almost every year of his career. His first year, he struggled a little bit. He came on, 12 touchdowns, 3 picks. Second year, he really struggled, 11 touchdowns, 9 picks. And now this year, he worked really hard in the offseason. He's got a rating of 196.4. And he's got 33 touchdowns. 11 was his average. 73.5 was completion percentage. 73% completion percentage. That is very good. And you look at some of the games, 3 touchdown game, 3 touchdown game, 1 touchdown game, 4 touchdown game, 3 touchdown game. You really look at it. You really do. The games, and another thing too is he gets a lot of time in the pocket. So if the Jets build around him with offensive linemen, you give him time in the pocket, he can really damage you. So now rushing, you got 2 touchdowns. He's got 3 total rushing touchdowns. But really though, it really is crazy. He's a very good rushing guy. He could use not only his arm, but his leg. He's got a very good arm strength as well. His rating last game was 210.6. 76 completion percentage, 425 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns. And they dominated for the Rebecca Rathen Bowl. And that's it. That's pretty much him at BYU. And I think he has taken that second spot in the NFL draft. And I think it would be amazing if the Jets could get him. I really do. I think he is. I mean, he's a Heisman candidate. He's had a very good year. And if we get him, I think this would be a guy that's going to, not only going to hurt you with his arms, but with the legs. And this is all involving what happens with Trevor. The chance of Trevor isn't completely out of reach, but more than likely it is. So there it is. That's your options for the Jets and the draft situation. Coming up next, like I said, Zach Wilson or Kyle Trask. I mean, Zach Wilson can use his legs big time, which might put him a little bit over the edge. Might put him a little over some of those other guys. But yeah. So anyway, so now we move. Let's go on. We'll start off with college basketball. So college basketball today, we got a couple good games on today. Oregon, UCLA. I give Oregon the win. Creighton and Xavier, give Creighton the win. This is one of the games I'm looking forward to. Rutgers, Ohio State, top 25 matchup. Two very good teams. I give Rutgers the win. Tennessee, USC, Upstate. Tennessee, easily there. Penn State, Illinois. I know Penn State upset last time, and Illinois is on a little bit of a couple-game skid, but I give Illinois the win. And Villanova, Marquette, I give Villanova the win. For college football today, there's 2 bowl games on today. We got Georgia Southern, Louisiana Tech. I give Georgia... Hold on, Georgia Southern the win. And Memphis, Florida Atlantic, give Memphis the win. So there are that. And then for the NBA, we got Heat Magic, give Heat the win. Cavaliers, Hornets, I give Hornets the win. Pacers, Knicks, I give Pacers the win. 76ers, Wizards, I give 76ers the win. Bucks, Celtics, I give Bucks the win. Pelicans, Raptors, give Raptors the win. Bulls, Hawks, give Hawks the win. Pistons, Timberwolves, give Timberwolves the win. Grizzlies, Spurs, give Grizzlies the win. Rockets, Thunder. I give Rockets the win, even with all the uncertainty. John Wall's look pretty good, so I give Rockets the win. Nuggets, Kings, give Nuggets the win. Jazz, Trailblazers, give Jazz the wins. And Mavericks, Suns, I give the Mavericks the win. So there's your games today. Like I said with the Knicks, they showed a lot of effort. They showed a lot of fight in the game versus the game against preseason, really, just to be honest. Preseason games, they've shown a lot of fight. They've shown a lot of good effort. And I think Knicks fans, that's really what they want, is to see effort. That's really one of the big things, I think. So there are your NBA games. Now on to fantasy basketball, where yesterday I did not have the most successful... Oh, fantasy football, really quickly. My acquisitions went through. I got George Kittle in my one league. That was really the only acquisition. In my other league, I did not get George Kittle. But I did get Myles Gaskin, and one of my waiver claims right now is get Brandon Ayuk. That's one of the other ones. Okay, so now I'm fantasy basketball. This is what I got. I'm losing right now 107-66, but I've got my whole lineup to go today. I got Trae Young, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, Jeremiah Grant, Yusuf Nurkic, Victor Oladipo, Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, and Jonas Valanciunas. And my bench is Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Aldridge, I'm not starting. I'm starting Valanciunas. I just think Valanciunas and starting, and I just like that matchup there. So I like that. So that's gonna be the deal there. Yeah. So that's gonna be the deal there. I got my full lineup to go today, which is good. And obviously Anthony Davis and Kyrie on my bench because they don't play today. So that's my full lineup there. So with all that being said, that will do it for pretty much. That'll do it for the podcast here today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I will see you all back tomorrow. By the way, yes, I am doing a podcast tomorrow. I know tomorrow is Christmas Eve, but I'll be doing a podcast tomorrow. I won't be doing a podcast on Friday, though. Christmas, I won't be. So tomorrow, look out, because tomorrow is going to be a very packed podcast. We got all the NFL games, all the NBA games, all college basketball, all college football. So tomorrow's going to be a packed podcast. It really is. So expect a long one. Expect an hour one, probably around there. It's going to be a long podcast tomorrow. Fantasy basketball and fantasy football. So it's going to be a long podcast tomorrow. to say the least. I'm still trying to map out how much time I want to take on each topic because I don't want to take 50 minutes on the NFL. Because sometimes I do that because I don't have to worry about talking anything else. But with college football, luckily though, it's only bowl games, so it's not like it's like Clemson or anyone or Miami where I do a special preview. So I could kind of just go through there quickly. But tomorrow's going to be a packed pod. So tomorrow I'll talk all the NBA stuff because then Friday I'm going to take a day off for Christmas. And I'll obviously resume back up on Monday after the weekend and Christmas. So, so Christmas is right around the corner. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve and Christmas is obviously on Friday. So exciting times for sports and just Christmas in general. Obviously, like I said, ton of sports coming up. Sports on Christmas Day, sports over the weekend, sports tonight, ton of sports on. So that's good. So, So a lot being said, I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.